There's a rare talent for being completely wrong while being completely certain, and the people in this video have mastered it at an Olympic level. Brace yourself, moment 1. A woman walks into a restaurant, sits down, and orders a grilled chicken salad. No dressing, no croutons. Substitute the chicken for extra avocado, add shrimp instead, and can the avocado be mashed? She then rates the restaurant 1 star because, and I quote, "The food didn't taste like what I ordered." Ma'am, you didn't order anything. You performed a hostile renovation of a menu item and then blamed the building. The chef made the salad, you made a different salad. These are two different events. Moment 2. A man calls his internet provider furious that his connection is slow. The technician, patient as a saint, asks how many devices are connected to the network. The man pauses, counts 43 devices. Televisions, tablets, smart bulbs, a refrigerator with opinions, 3 gaming consoles running simultaneously. And his complaint is that a single laptop isn't loading fast enough. This isn't an internet problem. This is a math problem. A very, very humbling math problem. Moment 3. A hotel guest leaves a 2-star review complaining that the ocean was too loud at night and smelled strongly of fish. The hotel is a beachfront property, directly on the beach. The promotional photos feature the ocean approximately 14 times. At what point in the booking process did you expect the Atlantic to simply quiet down and put on deodorant for your visit? Moment 4. A gym member files a formal complaint that the free weights are too heavy. Not that the weights are mislabeled. Not that there aren't lighter options available. The 45-pound plates, he argued, should weigh less. He felt that 45 was an unreasonable number. And somewhere, a gym manager had to read that sentence out loud to another human being and keep a straight face. That manager deserves a medal. Moment 5. A woman posts online outrage that her all-inclusive resort charged her for a tattoo she got at the resort's tattoo parlor. The package, she insists, said all-inclusive. It did. Food, drinks, activities, entertainment, all listed clearly. Permanent body modification administered by a licensed artist using professional equipment was, perhaps unsurprisingly, not bundled into the continental breakfast. Be honest, did you need it written down? Moment 6. A man contacts a bookstore to complain that the novel he purchased had an ending he didn't like. He wants a refund. Not because the book was defective. Not because it was the wrong title. He read it, finished it, disliked the final chapter, and wants his money returned. He also suggested the author regulate the conclusion. The author, a human being with their own creative vision and approximately zero obligation to this man, was not consulted. Somehow, we're still in the early numbers. Moment 7. A customer at a bakery complains that the birthday cake she ordered is too sweet. It's a birthday cake. It is, by definition, composed primarily of sugar, butter, and frosting. 3 things that have never in recorded history apologized for their flavor profile. She knew this going in. The cake did not misrepresent itself. If anything, the cake showed up exactly as promised, and she is punishing it for honesty. Moment 8. A man sends an angry email to a national park demanding they do something about the excessive wildlife. There are too many deer, he writes. They are everywhere. They keep appearing in his photographs uninvited. Sir, you are in a national park. The deer were here before the parking lot. The deer were here before the welcome sign. You drove several hours to visit their home and are now lodging a formal grievance about their attendance. Have you ever considered that you might be the wildlife in this situation? Moment 9. A woman complains to her dentist that the toothache she's been ignoring for 3 years has gotten worse. The dentist explains that untreated cavities progress. The woman is stunned. She assumed, and this is real logic she deployed, that if she avoided thinking about it, the tooth would sort itself out. Teeth, for the record, do not sort themselves out. Teeth are not a startup. They do not pivot. They decay on a very committed, very linear schedule regardless of your emotional availability. Moment 10. A man purchases a blender, blends an entire unpeeled mango, seed, skin, the full experience, and leaves a 1-star review saying the blender couldn't handle fruit. The blender can handle fruit. The blender cannot handle geology. There is a preparation step that exists between fruit and blending fruit, and it is called preparing the fruit, and it has been a known concept since approximately the invention of kitchens. This next one somehow defies even more logic. Moment 11. A passenger on a long-haul flight complains in a post-flight survey that the airplane was too high up. She found the altitude uncomfortable and felt the airline should consider flying lower. Commercial aviation cruises at roughly 35,000 feet for reasons involving physics, fuel efficiency, and the basic mechanics of keeping a metal tube in the sky. Flying lower is not a customer preference option. It is not in the drop-down menu. It is not a thing. Moment 12. A man writes to his local municipality demanding they move a deer crossing sign to a less busy road. Because, and this is his reasoning, deer are reading the signs and crossing there. He believes the sign is instructing the deer. He wants to redirect the deer's commute by relocating their reading material. The sign is for drivers. The deer cannot read. And yet this letter was written, stamped, mailed, and opened by a civil servant who had to process it as official correspondence. Moment 13. A woman complains that her yoga instructor was too calm during class and it made her anxious. The yoga, a practice specifically designed to cultivate inner stillness and reduce stress, was, in her estimation, too peaceful. She wanted more energy, more urgency, more tension. In yoga, she has essentially complained that water is too wet and silence is too quiet, and she did it with a straight face on a public review platform. Moment 14. A man gets sunburned at an outdoor music festival and threatens legal action against the festival organizers. He did not use sunscreen, he was outside, in summer, for 8 hours, facing the direction that contained the sun. The sun, which has been rising every morning for approximately 4.5 billion years, did what it always does. It showed up, it performed, it committed. And this man is surprised. Moment 15. A customer calls a software company enraged that the free version of their app has limitations. He wants full premium features at no cost, and he wants them permanently. And he wants an apology for the inconvenience of the paywall existing. The free version, which costs him nothing, which he chose to download, which works exactly as described, has somehow wronged him. The audacity is architectural at this point. It has load-bearing walls. Moment 16. A woman complains to a grocery store that the organic apples cost more than the regular apples. She understands this is because they're organic. She simply disagrees with the concept. She wants organic certification, pesticide-free farming practices, and additional regulatory compliance, but at the price of regular apples. She would also like the store to speak to someone about this. The store cannot speak to someone about this. Supply chains are not customer service departments. Moment 17. A man attends a surprise party thrown in his honor, does not enjoy surprises, and leaves a Google review for the venue complaining about the experience. Not a review of his friends who organized it, not a note to the people who spent weeks planning and coordinating out of genuine affection for him. A Google review for the building. 1 star. Venue facilitated an unwanted surprise, he wrote. And somewhere a venue owner refreshed their dashboard and found this waiting for them like a small, inexplicable gift from the universe. Moment 18. A student emails their professor demanding a grade change because, and I'm going to quote this carefully, they tried really hard. The assignment was graded on accuracy. The answers were incorrect. The effort, while noted, did not alter the mathematical outcomes, the historical facts, or the chemical equations involved. Trying hard is admirable. Trying hard is genuinely worthy of respect. Trying hard does not reroute the laws of chemistry to accommodate enthusiasm. Moment 19. A man complains that his local library is too quiet. He finds the atmosphere oppressive. He would like the library to play music, introduce livelier conversation, and generally operate more like a cafe. The library, which has been an institution of silent study and focused reading for several centuries, has apparently been doing it wrong this entire time, and it took this one man to finally notice. Would you like to tell the librarians, or should I? Moment 20. A woman contacts a travel agency furious that Paris did not match her expectations. Paris was too crowded, too expensive, too French. She wanted it to be like the movies but without the tourists, except that she herself was a tourist, which she did not appear to register as relevant information. Paris has approximately 15 million visitors a year. She was mathematically part of the crowd she was complaining about. It somehow gets significantly worse from here. Moment 21. A homeowner contacts a pest control company demanding a refund because the mice they eliminated were part of the ecosystem and she now feels guilty. She hired the company. She signed the forms. She agreed to the service. After complete resolution of the problem, she retroactively opposed the solution and requested her money back on philosophical grounds. The mice were not consulted during this moral reversal. Neither was the pest control technician who drove 40 minutes to help her. Moment 22. A man sends a formal complaint to a weather app because it predicted sunshine and it rained. He wants accountability. He wants answers. He wants, if possible, someone to call. Weather forecasting is a probabilistic science operating across millions of atmospheric variables using some of the most complex modeling technology on Earth. And it is still at its core a very educated guess about what clouds intend to do. Clouds do not coordinate with apps. Clouds do not read terms of service. Clouds simply exist and they do not owe anyone an apology. Moment 23. A woman files a noise complaint against her neighbor for mowing their lawn during daylight hours on a weekend, within legal decibel limits. The complaint specifies that the sound of the lawnmower was disruptive to her peace. Lawn maintenance is not a luxury service one neighbor performs as a courtesy to another. It is a fundamental obligation of property ownership. The lawn does not grow on a schedule that accommodates her preferred silence window, and neither does common sense, apparently. Moment 24. A man contacts a national airline demanding a full refund for a flight he missed because he arrived at the airport 45 minutes before an international departure. Check-in cutoffs are listed in the confirmation email. They are listed on the website. They are listed at the counter. They are listed in approximately 9 separate communications this man received and did not read. He describes the airline as predatory for enforcing the schedule that the schedule has always had. The schedule is not predatory. The schedule is just the schedule. Moment 25. A woman calls a restaurant to complain about a meal she ate 2 years ago. Not a recent visit, 2 years prior. She's been thinking about it, she says. The chicken was dry. She's ready to discuss it now. The restaurant, having cycled through staff, menus, and probably a full kitchen renovation since then, is now being asked to address a grievance that has been quietly aging in this woman's mind for 730 days. What is the statute of limitations on poultry disappointment? Asking for all of us. Moment 26. A man files a complaint with a theme park because his child did not meet the height requirement for a roller coaster. The height requirement exists because of physics and safety engineering and the basic mechanical limits of harness systems designed to keep small humans inside moving vehicles. He does not dispute this. He simply feels that an exception should be made. For his child specifically, because his child really wanted to go. The roller coaster, unmoved, continued operating at regulation height thresholds, as it always has, as it always will, regardless of anyone's feelings about it. Moment 27. A woman complains to a bookstore that a book she purchased contained too many words. It was a novel, 412 pages. She wanted the story but found the length unreasonable and believes the author could have wrapped it up faster. She is not wrong that books contain words. She is extraordinarily wrong about what can be done about it. The words are the book. Removing the words removes the book. What she is describing is a movie, and even then she would probably want notes. Moment 28. A man contacts his bank demanding a refund on the interest he was charged for a loan he took out and did not repay on time. He knows what interest is. He signed the loan agreement. He received monthly statements itemizing the charges. His complaint is that the interest accumulated while he wasn't paying attention, and therefore, in his view, it shouldn't count. This is not how debt works. This is not how time works. This is not, in any measurable sense, how any of this works, and yet a bank employee had to sit at a desk and explain compound interest to a grown adult as if it were a surprise plot twist. Moment 29. And finally, the summit of this particular mountain of unreasonable expectations. A woman contacts a hospital billing department to dispute charges for emergency surgery. Surgery that saved her life. She is alive because of this surgery. She acknowledges this. Her complaint is that she didn't pre-approve the level of intervention and feels the surgical team overreacted. She was unconscious. She was in critical condition. The medical team made real-time decisions under genuine pressure to prevent her death, succeeded, and received a strongly worded letter about scope of service. You may want to sit with that one for a moment. Here is what all 29 of these moments have in common. Somewhere between expectation and reality, someone decided that reality was the adjustable variable, not their expectations. Not their preparation, not their understanding of how oceans, debt, teeth, gravity, deer, or emergency surgery operate, but reality itself. As if the world is a customer service experience and someone somewhere is responsible for making it more convenient. We live on a planet with approximately 8 billion people doing their best, and then there are these moments, these beautiful, baffling, occasionally jaw-dropping moments, where someone looks the universe directly in the eye and files a formal complaint. And somehow, that is both the funniest and the most exhausting thing about being alive right now. Which one broke you the most? Drop it in the comments. And if you've witnessed something that belongs on a list like this, tell us. Research practically writes itself. If this delivered the kind of content that makes you feel briefly, wonderfully sane by comparison, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, and prepare yourself, because the next collection is already looking worse.